Did you know that plants under stress might actually make super high-pitched sounds like screams when they need a drink or something's trying to eat them? Your tomato plants might be yelling for water at frequencies we can't even hear. It just shows you there's a whole lot happening in our gardens that we don't even realize. Gardening is like discovering a secret world when you really get into it. Welcome back to Don't Do This Guide. People often ask me for the one secret to having a great garden. They want that easy answer, a magic formula. But the truth is, there isn't one. Every garden is different, just like every gardener. What grows well in my garden might not do so well in yours. The key is to pay attention, try things out, and adjust as you go. One of the biggest mistakes I see new gardeners making is trying to do way too much all at once. They get overwhelmed, discouraged, and often give up before they even start to see the good stuff. My advice? Start small. Pick a project you can handle, like a small raised bed, a few pots on a balcony, or even just a sunny windowsill. Focus on the basics: good soil, watering the right way, and choosing plants that will be happy in your space. Enjoy the process, learn from your mistakes, and celebrate every little win along the way. I've been gardening for over 30 years, and trust me, I've had my share of flops. But you know what? Every failure has taught me something important. The point is, don't be afraid to mess up. See mistakes as chances to learn. Keep a gardening journal, write down what worked and what didn't, and use that knowledge to get better year after year. Gardening is like a marathon, not a sprint. It's an ongoing cycle of planting, taking care of things, harvesting, and starting all over again. And along the way, there will be challenges, setbacks, and times you might feel unsure. That's why it's so important to celebrate the small wins. The first spring bulbs peeking up through the ground, a seedling you successfully moved to a bigger pot, a tomato ripening on the vine. These are all reasons to stop, appreciate, and give yourself a pat on the back. Share your harvest with friends and family, knowing that you helped create something delicious and good for you. By recognizing and celebrating each step, you'll stay motivated, inspired, and connected to the magic of growing your own food. One of the most fun parts of gardening is getting to experiment. Your garden is your own little lab, a place where you can test different plants, ways of doing things, and ideas to see what works best. Don't be afraid to try something new. If you've always grown veggies, why not add some flowers to attract helpful insects? Or if you've got a shady spot, explore the world of ferns and hostas that love the shade. Remember, there's no one right way to garden. The key is to observe, adapt, and find what makes you happy. Now let's talk about tools. Good tools can make a world of difference in the garden, but it's easy to get overwhelmed by all the choices. My advice? Start with the essentials and gradually add more as you need them. A strong hand trowel, a garden fork, a good pair of pruning shears, and a watering can are must-haves for any gardener. When it comes to learning, there's tons of information online, in books, and at local gardening clubs. Remember, even expert gardeners were once beginners. We often focus on the plants we see above the ground, but the real secret to a thriving garden is below the surface, in the soil. Soil is the foundation of your garden, giving your plants the nutrients, water, and support they need. Before you even think about planting seeds or seedlings, it's super important to understand your soil. The best way to do that is with a simple soil test. A soil test will tell you the pH level of your soil, which tells you how acidic or alkaline it is. With this information, you can make smart choices about fertilizing and improving your soil. One of the most rewarding things you can do for your garden is to start composting. You don't need anything fancy to start composting. A simple open bin or even just a pile in a corner of your garden will do. The key is to have the right mix of green stuff like veggie scraps, grass clippings, and coffee grounds, and brown stuff like dried leaves, shredded cardboard, and straw. Turn your compost pile regularly to let air in and keep it moist, but not too wet. Composting is a win-win for you and your garden. Pests are a part of gardening, but that doesn't mean we have to go to war with them. In fact, a healthy garden welcomes a variety of creatures, including insects. Before you grab the chemical pesticides, take a moment to watch. Are the pests causing real damage, or are they just a little annoying? Often a spray of water from the hose or a quick squish is all it takes to keep them under control. Encourage helpful creatures like ladybugs, lacewings, and birds to your garden by giving them food and places to live. Remember, a few pests can actually be good for your plants, making them stronger and tougher in the long run. Gardening is all about learning as you go. Every season brings new challenges and rewards, and the best way to get better is to become a close observer of your own garden. Take the time to really look at your plants, noticing any changes in how they're growing, their color, or how they look overall. Are they happy where they are, or would they prefer more sun or shade? Are there any signs of bugs or diseases? Keep a gardening journal or notebook handy to write down your observations, experiments, and successes. Over time, this journal will become a treasure trove of information, helping you track your progress, learn from your mistakes, and make smarter decisions in the future. One of the best things about gardening is the sense of community it creates. From sharing extra produce with neighbors to swapping seeds and cuttings with other gardeners, gardening brings people together. Don't be shy about talking to other gardeners at your local garden center, allotment, or community garden. Think about joining a gardening club or online forum. Gardening is more than just a hobby. It's a way of life, a shared passion that connects us to nature, to our communities, and to ourselves. One of the most rewarding parts of gardening is getting to experience the natural rhythms of the seasons. From the first signs of spring to the colorful harvest in autumn, each season brings its own unique beauty and challenges to the garden. Embrace the cyclical nature of gardening. Spring is for sowing seeds, planting, and watching new life emerge. Summer is for tending to your plants, harvesting what you've grown, and enjoying the abundance of flowers. Autumn brings the harvest, and a time to tidy up and prepare for winter. And winter is a time for rest and planning for the next year. By working with nature's cycles, we gain a deeper understanding of the ebb and flow of life itself. I think one of the hardest things for new gardeners to let go of is the desire for a perfect garden. We see those picture-perfect gardens in magazines and online, and we want to have the same thing. But the truth is, there's no such thing as a perfect garden. Gardens are living, changing things. They evolve, they surprise us, and they're never quite finished. Instead of aiming for perfection, focus on the journey. So there you have it. A few of my don't do this tips, learned from years of trying, making mistakes, and loving every minute of being in the garden. Remember, gardening is a journey, not a destination. It's about connecting with nature, with your community, and with yourself. Happy gardening.